The number one skill that you want to work on if you're going to become a good marketer is...
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate? To get the answers, we interview the top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. If you would like one-on-one access to over 26 of the top agents in the country to help you scale your business, then head over to eliteagentsecrets.com/partner, or you can just click the link in the description below. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
So what are the three buckets of content?
So when we're talking about like attraction marketing and when we're talking about bringing people to you, and again, like this is something that I'm super passionate about because I think there's so many unhappy, burnt out agents out there that are just chasing their tail, like I just need to make more phone calls. Well, do you really want to make more phone calls? Do you really want to, do that thing that feels very difficult every single day for the next 50 years? Probably not. So I'm a really big believer in attraction marketing. I'm a really big believer in making things easier. And again, marketing is one of those things that if you got the foundations right, then it's easier, right? And the actual day-to-day of the business is easier. And you get to sit back and your appointment calendar gets to fill up, and it doesn't have to be this crazy experience. But if we're going to kind of simplify the human psychology part, there's a couple of things, or there's three major buckets that we need to be covering in order to have, consistent business coming in. And again, the preface for this is all of this is focused on a singular niche, right? So that's why I said that earlier, the human focused niche. And then the messaging becomes authority content, personal content, and social proof. So I'll start with the social proof because social proof is probably one of the worst used in the real estate space. Social proof is not just listed, just sold. It's not showing people you have business to get more business. It's being able to actually show people that you have helped other people in their exact situation with the exact problems that they have, with the same fears that they have, and you've gotten them to the other side and they're happy. So it's case studies, testimonials, and PR, or media attention. So case studies being things like, tell the story. The number one skill that you want to work on if you're going to become a good marketer is storytelling. Right? It doesn't matter if we are sitting around a campfire or we're, living in a cave, however many hundreds of years ago. That's how everything was passed along, is story. And so when we're talking about storytelling, it's the same thing. If you're listening to this and you've never watched an HGTV show, I don't know who you are and I don't know what rock you've been living under, but HGTV.
I haven't. I actually haven't.
Who are you?
Well, we don't get it here.
Well, that's so fine. When I was talking about moving to the Bahamas, I watched every Bahamas Life show that was on HGTV. I literally, every single one, I was like, I can do that and I can do that. And it literally gave me strength. And I was like, if these guys can do it, I can do it. Right. It was great because, and actually my real estate agent that I ended up using to buy my house in the Bahamas, it was on Bahamas Life.
No.
So it all kind of came together. It was great. But yeah, I mean, that network has been so popular and has created so many North American celebrities because it's an entire network of case studies. It doesn't matter if it's about flipping or buying your first home or moving to the Caribbean or what it is. The entire thing is following people's story from, a problem to the point where they have a solution. So, case studies are really, really magical. And you get to talk about what you do without the whole premise of look at me, look how great I am. You're telling the story of someone else and how you help them get to where they are without it coming across as I'm tooting my own horn. Testimonials, of course, just testimonials, but they're super powerful. And PR, media attention, most agents don't use it. It's super, super important. But so the other bucket is personal content. You cannot expect someone to know you, like you, and trust you if they know nothing about you. Right? And it's just common sense. And personal content actually gives people the ability to emotionally connect with someone. People make decisions emotionally before they make them logically, right? We make an emotional decision and then we back it up, or we search for logical reasons why that emotional decision makes sense. So the emotional side of it is incredibly important, and people choose humans. This is a human to human business. It doesn't matter how big you scale. If somebody hates you, there is another option. They're going to go find somebody else, right? So all of that emotional resonance will actually come first. And then all of it will really it compounds. If I was a 400-pound bald white man with that talked about football and slammed on the table a lot, the people who resonate with me would be entirely different, even if my messaging was exactly the same. Right? So there's also an element of attracting people who are going to resonate with you as a person, which is where the personal content comes in. So personal beliefs, personal philosophy, personal story. Those are kind of the subsections of your personal bucket. Talk about what you believe in. Talk about what matters to you. Talk about your beliefs. Talk about the things that will give people points of resonance.
I think it encapsulates with one word for me. It's authenticity.
100%.
That's the one word that's the word of the moment. I mean, I just think, again, this comes back to these do all intertwine, but it's when you speak your personal truth. So, and let's say you just love Jesus, you're big into God, Christian, and you're posting about that all the time. And let's say, I know, somebody else isn't into that at all, then all of a sudden they're not going to resonate with you. You shouldn't look at that and go, oh no, I've lost a deal. You should look at that and go, I'm attracting the right people and I'm pushing against the wrong, right?
100%.
Which, being polarizing, people think is a bad thing. I actually have always thought it's a good thing.
It's incredibly good. Again, like I said this earlier, 1,000 people who love you rather than 100,000 people who kind of like you, right? Yeah. And, again, if you speak your truth and somebody doesn't like you, that means they don't like you. And why would you want to work and help that person who thinks that your beliefs are wrong, right? Yeah. Again, it just comes down to putting more out into the world of what you want. And that's one of the ways to do it. The third bucket is the authority content bucket, which is, process solution, which is why you need a signature system. But also just authority value. What are the questions that you get on a regular basis from your clients? Answer those questions, because those questions are content. Those are actual questions that people seem to have. And pain problem. So when you have a human-focused niche, you understand the pain points, you can actually create content that tells story or pokes the pain point. Basically what you're doing is you're not stabbing a knife in somebody's back. You're just pointing out that there's already a knife sticking out of their back, right? It's a lot more of an this is ethical marketing. This isn't like your manipulative, NLP type marketing stuff. This is ethically driven marketing where you're like, hey, you have a problem. I understand your problem. My signature process can help you solve the problem. It's all encapsulating when it comes to actually creating value.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you would like access to over 26 of the top agents in the country to help you scale your business, then head over to eliteagentsecrets.com/partner, or you can just click the link in the description below. Now back to the show. When you're talking about this, the thing, obviously we've known you for a little while now, and I can't tell our audience enough how much you live this truth when it comes to your own business.
Yeah.
For context, and I'll just say it from my perspective, but Jess gives a lot away for free. Lots of guides, lots of books to help people scale. She then puts them into a Facebook group with all the free info you could want to grow your business 100% for free. And then, and only then, if people would like to learn a little bit more about how she could help them or her team could help them on more of a one-on-one or group setting basis, then that's okay, but it's all on you. And it's just putting good out into the world at such a large scale that eventually people be like, this person's fucking decent. And also, you also tend to get a lot more referrals that way because there's just no pressure sale. It's listen, this is what it is. Take it, run with it. If you're successful with the free stuff, awesome. That's the whole point of this show.
And then if you want our help every step of the way, it's available there too, right? And I think that that's really important, is that I think so often people are so tight-fisted when it comes
100%.
to like what they know. I don't want to tell another agent. I don't want to tell I don't want to tell anybody any of my secrets. And like, really at the end of the day, like that's not helping anyone.
No.
It's not helping you either, because you're not giving people enough to even build basic trust with you or to know that you know what you're talking about.
Now, speaking of, this is a nice tangent of knowing what you're talking about. You may or may not have had a recent release. So I want to give the floor to you. I want to give the floor to you, and I want to give you some time to chat about this because you've had a very exciting release as of a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So tell our listeners what you've given the public.
Yeah. So I wrote a book. It is called More Money, Less Hustle, Becoming the 7-Figure Real Estate Agent. Could it? There's a theme here, right, guys? Like I'm consistent, if anything.
Yeah.
And the book is it's based on 7 pillars to 7 figures. I break it down kind of like piece by piece. And I mean, I love marketing. Marketing is like my first love, but marketing's only one chapter. So there's a lot. Signature systems is actually an entire chapter. But there's a lot in there. And what we did as well, kind of going along with like give as much as you can, there's the book. And then in the book, we also give access to what we call the 7-Figure Starter Kit. So for every chapter that we go through the why and the baseline and the foundations and, you know, things like that, there's also a corresponding training, like video training that goes along with each chapter of the book. So we've put that together as well so that people have access to that for anybody who actually reads the book, which is really cool. And it's been super well received. It is an Amazon bestseller in like the real estate profession. And it's been really awesome. The book itself I was never that person who like dreamed of writing a book. There's so many people out there that are like that, right? They're like, one 100%. Day I will write a book, and you know, it's part of like their goals. That was not the case for me. I just kept getting really sick of all these people being like, I read this book and it told me that I needed to suffer to be successful. And it told me that I had to like hustle and grind and give up all of my hobbies in order to have a successful real estate career. And I just got so sick of hearing the same old school, like super toxic messaging. And so I just basically thought, if no one else is going to write this book for real estate, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's really where it came from. It was, I mean, it's basically everything that I believe and all of my processes and everything in one place.
And how to be a 7-figure agent. I mean, that's like, you know, when we spoke to you the very first time, that was just something that was so impressive, where it's like, I did it, I've done it. I've done the grind, like I figured it out, like I made the money, and I'm like, there's a better way. We could do this a slightly better way here. And I love the fact that you brought this book out to help others. I have seen people, again, in your group sharing how much it's helped them. And it's just, you know, actionable tips that they can take away and go and get a result, which is the whole premise of this show too, right? It's like, listen, come on the show, listen to top agents, and you can go out and execute against this stuff. And in this case, you know, buying Jess's book is never going to be a bad investment. Whereas Amazon, how much is it, Jess? Go on, do your pitch.
It depends. So if you are Amazon.com, it's $15.99 for the paperback, or it's $6.99 for the Kindle version.
I mean, guys, if you're listening to this,
if you don't have $7 to spend on this, guys,
I couldn't wait for the real version, so I just picked up the Kindle version.
I just recorded the audio version too, which was like such a fun experience. I was really nervous about it, to be honest, because voice stuff is not something that I have a lot of experience with. And I went into the studio and I recorded the whole thing. And at the end, I said to the sound engineer, I'm like, if you ever need a Disney princess, like, I'm your gal. That was so fun. But yeah, I recorded the whole thing. It's going to be released in a couple months on Audible as well. I think that they need to make me sound better than I do, right? They need to do all the like tweaks of like, why did she say that way? That sounded strange. But Yeah, that's coming out as well, which I think that there's some people that were waiting for that that aren't necessarily like book readers, they're book listeners.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got big into Audible recently,
Mhm.
probably about 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I forget how it was. A certain book came out and I wanted it, so I was like, I can't get the paperback version for months. It was wherever it was, so I ended up getting it on Audible. And now, even though I don't have a lot, I fucking love it. Like, it really fits because, like, when I'm out doing stuff, I put an Audible book on. Same with how people, listen to podcasts. Our audience, a lot of them are on the move between deals. Like, and I think that's a great thing about Audible. Now, before we wrap up here, Jess, I know we have spoken about some of the other stuff you got going on, but like, if people did want to reach out, get in touch, join your Facebook group, let the people know whether it's phone, email, website, social media, where you're at.
Don't call me, guys. I don't answer the phone ever. Best place to reach out. So there's a couple places. Number one, I would say my Facebook group is probably your best first resource. So it's just facebook.com/groups/the listings lab. It's where like a lot of my content goes there. I would say the other main place would be Instagram. I respond to my Instagram DMs every day. I put a lot of content out there. Some of it's really silly. Some of it's valuable. And my handle on Instagram is just my name. It's just @Jess Lenouvelle, LENOUVEL. So those would probably be the two best places. Love it. Yeah, there's tons of free stuff on both of those places. So you can't really go wrong.
All the free stuff in the world and a $20 book. I mean, listen, guys, you can't go wrong. Now, the last three, we've got a new segment since you're last on. So you got 3 quick fire questions straight off the top of your head. First one, favorite book or person you're learning from right now?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I'm going to give you my favorite book of all time. When it comes to a business book, it's called Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy.
Okay. I haven't read that.
It's a great book. Love it. Who am I learning from right now? I'm not really learning from anyone in particular at the moment. I've given myself some space. I find that I go through periods of consumption and then I go through periods of creation. I'm in a creation period at the moment.
Love it. Second one, what's one of your goals in the next 12 months?
To acquire a SaaS company.
Oh, wow. Holy hell. And then third one, then, what's the biggest obstacle you think is going to stop you achieving that?
Funding.
Nice. That's one hell of an answer. There we go. Business acumen, 7-figure agent. Jess, thank you for coming on the show. Everyone, we hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you would like one-on-one access to over 26 of the top agents in the country to help you scale your business, then head over to eliteagentsecrets.com/partner, or you can just click the link in the description below.